In analyzing in depth the recent events in Jerusalem, we are confronted with a panorama that goes beyond of the everyday. We are not just talking about natural disasters, but something more sinister and intriguing. The Holy Land of Jerusalem is shaking violently, and hail the size of a fist, and floods are constantly threatened. We're witnessing the emergence of a new trinity of horror where the versus nature seems to be thrown off balance within, in a matter of seconds, transforms. Moreover, swarms of locusts, in the blink of an eye, devour entire fields, witnessing a calamity of biblical proportions. However, more subtle but no less serious are the dangers. Disease-carrying insects that pose an insidious threat to structure of society, while some see the opening of the gates of the Third Temple construction site as a heavenly blessing after the destruction of its predecessors. Others see this initiative as a warning sign of troubled times ahead for the of Christians building a third temple in Jerusalem. This is more than a simple architectural manifestation, is a prophetic realization of the transcendent, meaning it symbolizes not only but also the long-awaited return of Jesus Christ. However, the road to the completion of this temple is paved in religious tensions, especially because of its controversial location atop the dome of the cliff of the sacred site, which is also claimed Muslims. This conflict of sacred and geopolitical interests casts a shadow on the horizon. We are approaching a pivotal moment in history when ancient prophecies may become a haunting. After a long wait, signs have finally begun to appear of the construction of the Third Temple, bringing with it a mixture of joy and anticipation. However, before this moment could be fully celebrated, a series of unexpected surprises for all involved. Jerusalem was hit by a torrential rain, a devastating earthquake, the damage from which spread to Turkey and Syria, shook the city. The damage to the Dome of the Rock during these floods has caused Muslims to constantly worry about this holy place. Lightning pierced the sky and the tops of the SC Rock Dome. In addition, the simultaneous earthquake posed a significant threat to the safety of the dome. Media reports there have been reported incidents where a ceramic tile with an area of approximately 20 square kilometers fell from inside the mosque. Alex Gray. The domed edge of chrome stones also broke off from a pillar adjacent to the Gate of the Prophets, also known as the Double Gate, one of the permanently closed gates along the south wall. Moreover, an event occurred that will leave its mark on both analog history and in the discourse of modern discourse. Jerusalem is a city in which echoes of the past resound with every has become the epicenter of extraordinary events. It seems that every corner of the ancient city carries a narrative ready to unfold in new. As the tension builds and the events unfold, it's as if we're witnessing, as we witness the fulfillment of ancient prophecies into our own time. Today we are living in very difficult days when prophecies are being fulfilled, but a lot of people don't know what's going on in the world. So I've made my digital book, Biblical End Time Prophecy Revealed in, and I've made it available. Musical note: download it right now on the first musical note attached comment. This book will help you unravel all the mysteries of biblical prophecies that will change your life. Click on the first pinned comment because we have very few units and it will be deleted. Click right now and get your book in digital. The recordings capture what many interpreted as heavenly sounds of a corpse echoing across the sky, and images supposedly depicting the likeness of Jesus in the clouds quickly spreading with excitement. Here came a legion not of armed warriors but locusts awakening from two decade. When these creatures ascended into the heavens, they gathered in a giant cloud that covered the suns, serving as a vivid reminder of the biblical calamities of the past. This was not a scene invented of a screenwriter, but the stark reality unfolding in Israel in 2024. Of an era defined by an event so rare that its final event is beyond the memories of those now of the living. The emergence of a swarm of locusts in Jerusalem has sparked debate about divine signs, and many people interpreted it as a modern manifestation of the miracles and harbingers described in sacred. These events, reminiscent of the Magi's extraordinary guidance, or of the pillar of fire that led the Israelites, bring back memories of an era when divinity intervened in the destinies. They are powerful symbols that capture the minds of those who see in them a hint of profound spiritual transformation. But beyond the fascination and mystery, there is also a call for vigilance and preparedness. The earthquakes and riots predicted in apocalyptic visions have been symbolically associated with the tangible results of natural disasters, of political instability and environmental decay. Though nations may not physically disintegrate and the seas literally will not boil over, the essence of these trials serve as a reminder of the Earth's vulnerability and humanity's responsibility to care for it. Israel's arid landscape, especially in the Negev region, is creating the conditions for emergence. Locusts, these normally dormant insects, can become overwhelming under certain circumstances. Rain after a period, drought and heat accelerate their development. All of these elements combined awaken a latent threat in our century. This phenomenon is observed with a mixture of scientific reverence for the unpredictable forces of nature while echoing to the events of the ancient ages when divine intervention manifested itself in a similarly surprising way. The waters of the rivers, the Euphrates and Tigris rivers mentioned earlier in our analysis of the region's water problems, further complicate the current. These rivers, which were once the backbone of ancient civilizations, now reflect a changing landscape that may contribute to regional instability, exacerbate water shortages, and disrupt the fragile political balance. These changes may indirectly affect Israel's security and humanitarian efforts by creating unexpected challenges to its society as agricultural productivity is declining and the economy is experiencing. In this changing, the teachings of Christ sound like poignant reminders of the warning of the conflicts of turmoil and adversity that he foretold as signs of his eventual return. Before we deepen the journey, let me share an important insight. Israel is like a treasure trove of history, reminiscent of the ancient tales of medieval knights, filled with narratives in which are interwoven countless millennia of legends, of stories, and spiritual of meaning. This sacred land has witnessed the entire journey of human, from the monumental events recorded in the Bible to epic conflicts between civilizations and more. This is a realm where every stone echoes the stories of ancient times, where ancient structures hold the secrets of antiquity, and where the very air vibrates with mystery. In the remarkable tales of the marvelous, the parting of the Red Sea, and the amazing stories of the prophets and their miracles, this earth becomes the scene of divine intervention. In the mystical aura surrounding Israel, a profound revelation, a supernatural entity transcends of time. It's not just a repository of past, but a vivid reality in which mystical and spiritual continue intertwined even in our modern age. Consider, for example, an intriguing incident that took place over Jerusalem earlier this year. It will become even more amazing when you hear the news. The Dome of the Rock, the revered symbol of the city, was damaged by heavy rain and the earthquake. Devastating Turkey and Syria was also felt in the city. The damage to the Dome of the Rock during this horrific storm has caused the faithful to constantly worry about this. Sacred lightning struck the top of the dome, illuminating the entire area. Moreover, at the same time there was an earthquake that created a significant, threatening the safety of the dome's ceramic tile with an area of about 20 on the inside of the AXA Mecca gray dome-shaped. The mountain stones also broke away from the columns adjacent to the Gate of the Prophets, also known as the Double Gate, one of the permanently closed gates along the south wall. Despite the devastating consequences of these incidents remain, one undeniable fact is that this event has sparked a great deal of curiosity and discussion throughout of the city. This event has become a sign of the return. Jesus. Are we getting closer to the return of the God he promised he would return to this holy land? Musical note: earthquakes. Seismic musical note: disturbances that shake the surface of the earth can instill a deep sense of fear and vulnerability when the very ground on which we rely on suddenly becomes treacherous. It can erode the very essence of our existence. The Bible foresees several catastrophic events leading up to the second coming of Christ, which is often referred to as the last. The growing number of natural disasters casts a shadow over the future. As we explore further, we will see the essential connection between these disasters and the divine calls to repentance among the signs pointing to the second coming of Christ. The second coming of Christ. A prominent place in the prophecies are the devastating earthquakes. Jesus Christ foresaw several important events that would take place in the last days before his expected return. This was in response to the questions of his disciples who asked, Tell us when it will be, and what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the world. Of Matthew 243. Listing some of these, Jesus announced that there would be famines, pestilences and earthquakes. Why are these once distant visions are now becoming daily? The visions recorded in the Holy Scriptures seem to be materializing before our very eyes. Let us ponder the prophecy recorded in Luke chapter 21 verse 25. There will be signs in the sun and moon and stars. And in the stars and on the earth there will be despondency among the nations, and perplexity from the roaring sea and the waves. This ancient text resonates in our busy present, where the forces of nature somehow sparing the shores of cities and souls from the highest heavens. Almost all the signs from the confusion of the earth to the heavenly light descending upon us. And what about the sign that will be revealed when the light goes out on earth, when the sun and the moon become one? Let's remember April 8, 2024, when an eclipse will darken the skies all over the globe as a reminder of celestial power. This event is not just a magnificent sight. It's a sign, a cosmic call for us to lift our eyes and remember the prophetic warnings the Bible speaks of. Signs in the heavens. Can we proudly dismiss them as mere phenomena of nature? Come on. That will come when the waters overwhelm our cities, when the homes of lives and destinies will be washed away by the tides. We face the roaring and the tumult of the sea, the terrible echo of sacred musical note of prophecy. The streets are flooded, the foundations musical note shaking, and the hearts of millions are filled. Musical note fearing that these are not signs. Musical note of the creation of man's foolishness. But in this prophecy there is something more than that. It warns of countries plunged into torment and confusion in the vastness of the world. You will witness the suffering that spreads as communities face the desolation of their homes, violation of their security and loss. Musical note: the tranquility of a palpable awe. As musical note, nature around us becomes more hostile, disorderly and threatening. See the coming storm. Musical note: when the winds of change blow through. Musical note: our existence bringing with it torrents of anxiety, doubt and musical note: yes, we are plunged into a time of reckoning. Musical note: a time of trial and tribulation when humanity faces the consequences of their actions. But it is also a time of hope and redemption, a time when we can turn to the light and find redemption. For even as the shadows gather around us, the shadows thicken. Even as the waters threaten to have overwhelmed the spark of hope, it is this flame that will guide us through the storms that lie ahead, to fortify us in the face. Musical note: of the challenges ahead and guide us. Musical note: promise to the future. So lift your eyes to the sky. Contemplate the stars and realize that even in the deepest abyss there is still a light that must be. Musical note: for only when we recognize musical note the darkness we can truly appreciate the light. Let that light guide us in our darkest hours and show us the way to a